What's so special? It's a 40/30 special. What's a 40/30 special? It's 40% off Maxon One or 30% off any annual subscription. What can you do with Maxon One? Great question. All this stuff. What? 40% off Maxon One is a ridiculously low price for all the tools you get. Yeah, 30% off any annual subscription is pretty darn good too. So why is this special so special? Well, because it's the 2-year anniversary of the last time we had a May special. What? Remember when we regularly held a sales special in May, like every year? We didn't have a special last year. That's why we're especially excited to announce a very special to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of our May specials. I'm tired. How long is the special? 3 days. Great. And why are there 2 of me? I don't know.
Well, hello, everyone. I guess we are audible. Well, hello. It's not Jonas from the Maxon Training Team. Anyone that watches Quick Tips knows what I'm talking about. So let me get a quick feedback from all our beautiful viewers. If we are audible and you can see and hear us, please someone reply, and we will be grateful. That's all you get today. Gratitude. Let's see. I'm waiting for a reply in the comment section. Let's see. Are we audible? There you go. Thank you very much, Sharon. So let's begin with some housekeeping. And let me add my screen. So for events, there we go. So number 1, let's start with the May special. Just go to maxon.net and click here, learn more, and that's all I have to say about that. Number 2, Maxon events. You can go to this page and you can check out all the upcoming events, and you can search by dates, regions, and so forth. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. You can go to the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel or the Maxon YouTube channel or any of our other channels where we play videos and check all the recordings. All these sessions are recorded and can be watched at a later time. But it's more fun to hang out with us, ask questions, not receive replies, and generally just be part of an hour plus. It's always an hour plus. I think we haven't managed to do this in 59 minutes, 59 seconds, but that's a different story. Let's move on to certification. If you want to become a certified pro user or a certified trainer, please go to the certification page, maxon.net, certification, and check out the topics and all the rest of the information. Now, the Design Animation Tour happening on June 11 in Nashville. That with some amazing presenters. Over here, a great roster of artists and engineers and artist engineers, a combination of that. Go get your free t-shirt from this specific page. For the rest of May, the code is Compositing 3D, all uppercase. And I think we have a banner with that. I added that. Compositing 3D, there you go. Just put in this code and you can select some swag from the Maxon merch store, the Ask the Trainer portion of it, and only pay for shipping. Excellent. Now, what else do we have? I think that's all. If I forgot something, someone tell me in the background. So, who do we have today? We have the usual suspects, and they are to my right as I'm looking at that picture. I think it's to my left when I raise my left finger. So that, oh my God, it's so hard when it's not an actual mirror, is Lionel Vicidomini, and he's a master trainer at Maxon and a teacher instructor in France at various training centers and schools. He worked for many years in the broadcast industry, and for advertising agencies, you have my sympathies. Specializing in motion design, Lionel loves anything that moves and can be rendered, tracked, or edited. Lionel offers several training courses on Udemy, one of which is all about motion tracking in Cinema 4D. Throughout the month of May, take advantage of this coupon that will give you a 75% discount. And we have that link somewhere here. I always have those links and I keep missing it. There you go. Go to Udemy and find Lionel Vicidomini and use the code, boom, there you go, Maxon _DPP _May, all caps to get this hefty 75% discount. Now, right underneath, right there, oh my God, I can't do this, is my other very good friend, colleague, and overall really, really cool guy, Dustin Valkema. He's a Maxon certified master trainer, 3D journalist, and composite photographer with over 15 years of industry experience. He's now focused on education and mentorship through his company CG Hacks. Again, let's go here. I need to find a way to do this easily. I'm looking through my links.
Technology is hard.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah, that's why we do it, because we enjoy hard stuff. So go to his YouTube channel, CG Hacks or cghacks.com. Here's the other link. And through his company, CG Hacks, he provides VFX overlays, 3D textures, and material libraries, and other resources to bridge the gap between 2D and 3D workflows. Dustin's passion for helping others stems from his own experiences with failure and learning from them. He believes that with a bit of creative tenacity and a willingness to learn, anything is possible in the world of digital art. And I agree with all those points. Excellent. So, by the way, Vicidomini, in my interpretation, means master conqueror. So Lionel, he's a master trainer that conquers and tames the hard challenges in motion graphics. As far as Valkema for Dustin, Valk means falcon. So he's the bird of prey of difficult problems in photography. Oh my God. Oh, he also does cosplay stuff. Yeah, you should check out his stuff. And go catch the previous episode of Master Trainer. We did last week. I think it was May the 11th or something. Was it May the? No, it was anyway. It was last week.
Maybe one of those.
One of those. Just go watch them all. And there was one episode where Dustin was talking to the magnificent Dr. Thanassis about his journey in the industry, and was answering various questions. I found that a particularly interesting interview. Now, if you want to propose any subjects or you have any questions that you want answered on Ask the Trainer or something like that, just email askthetrainer without any gaps at maxon.net and propose stuff and so forth. So today we are going to, it's week 4. My God, May is nearly gone. And we're going to continue our journey that has to do with tracking and all that kind of mixing CG elements with live footage. And we're going to talk about brand and object placement replacement techniques. I will take a back seat on this. It doesn't mean I'm not going to stir up some trouble. And I'm going to put Dustin and Lionel in the spotlight. And yeah, I think with that said, we can switch to Lionel's screen, and I'm going to hide my head, but you may hear my voice.
All right, so thank you, Noseman. And yes, we are going to talk about a lot of stuff on After Effects. So yeah, today I'm going to talk only about After Effects plugins, Radiant plugin, spot plane tracker, camping tracker, a lot, and there will be no 3D. That part will be for Dustin in a while. And why am I going to talk about After Effects? Because you can do a lot of things with After Effects. It's easy, it's quick. Well, not that easy, but it's quick. And most often, if you want to do simple stuff, you can do it without going to 3D. And here, in that case, I'm going to show techniques for replacing part of the image. So not actually brands, but anything you want to remove or to add. Usually, you want to remove something to add something instead. So here, we have Kingpin spot clone tracker with a very simple example of this young woman smiling. Nothing very special, but if we take a look at the original footage, we can see, well, she has some spots, some acne, and so on, and the skin is not so bright. This is a very interesting example of a spot clone tracker. This is the main use of spot clone tracker. So I'm not going to do it again because it's very easy, just to show you how you can use it. And then I'm going to show you how to use it for something else different. Here we can see we have two spot clone tracker. I'm going to disable this one and take a look at this one, and you just have a spot here. So you're going to put your spot at this place, and it's going to replace this, to work on this. So if I enable it again, we will see I just take that patch of skin here and put it there. Okay, so let's do it maybe just once to see how it works. A little bit easier. Spot clone tracker, so it's in the Giant VFX suite. And if I go here, I'm just going to take here the region you want to track, this one. And this is the region which is going to be cloned from. So obviously that doesn't work with the lips. So let's put it right there. And you can see it's going to seamlessly replace that patch of skin. Now you just have to track forward or backward. So let's go forward. Just a few frames just to see what's going on. I'm going to stop. And that's it. It's very, very easy. So this is my third spot clone tracker, and it's going to follow very easily. This is the same engine as in Kingpin tracker, but it's even more easy because it's just on flat surface, and it's perfect for that kind of job. But, okay, so this is very simple. Let's see a user case where I used the tool not the way you would expect. So in the previous, it was the first week, I showed this footage, which was the basis for my domino scene. So we are in a room, and in order for the track to work, I had to stitch on the wall to paste some tracker marker like that. In that case, you have to put marker because the surface is just too smooth for the tracker to properly work. Okay, you don't have any choice. But of course, you want to remove those. They're just ugly. And there are several ways to remove the tracker, but you can do it with spot clone tracker. So if I go back here, so I didn't do it for the whole thing. I mean, you can see here, our tracker are gone and it's super clean. That's what I like with this technique. It's very, very, very clean because I can really change you to see where the original tracker would be. Okay, so let's remove it. So we know it's somewhere there. And it's, as you can see, it's very, very, very good for that. But it's a bit of work. So just to see what trick I used, I'm going to take the file here. Let's put it in a new composition. And if we take a look at this portion here, if I want to use spot clone tracker, then let's go there. And I think I have to put my overlay back. Okay, so this is the spot I want to track. This is the one I want to copy from. I'm going to change the size like that. Let's move it closer and so on. Okay, and then I just have to track the thing. So let's do it. And that's it. But you can see where is the problem. The problem is we have like, I think 40 of them. So you could do that 40 times because the result again is very good. Actually, we could do that with Kinping Tracker, for example, or other tools, but this one is really nice and very easy. So we could do it 40 times, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use a trick instead. Let's remove my spot clone tracker, and I'm going just to track the scene in 3D. So I have already done it in Cinema 4D, but I can show you that you can just do it easily in After Effects. The tracking won't be as good as with Cinema 4D, but it will be good enough for what we want to do. You will see. So I'm going here to animation. So yes, my After Effects is in French. It's very difficult to put it in English. I would have to disinstall, reinstall. So this is the track camera, and it's doing the track. So it's going to take like 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe we can talk a little bit in the background. So yes, for example, the 3D tracker from After Effects is quite good, actually. It's quite good if you have a good footage, clean footage. In that case, it's so easy to use. You just put it, just wait, and then you have your result. It's pretty bad if you have difficult track, like with mirrors and so on, the usual suspect, what we talked about in the previous session. But you could try it. You could try it because either it fails, either it does it. It succeeds. And sometimes it succeeds, but it's not good enough to work with. But still, it's interesting because you just stay inside After Effects. It's by far the easiest 3D tracker I know of. Because as you can see, it's just analyzing the track. And it's going to, you can see here, we are already at 400 image. Now it's going to analyze the track and so on. And so the idea is I'm going to have a lot of 3D tracks. I'm going to convert them to null, 3D null. And then I'm going to use the location of those 3D null, which will be perfectly placed, to tell Spot Clone Tracker to use that track to do the stuff. Okay, it's almost finished here. As you can see, it's pretty fast too. Okay, that's it. We have the whole scene. And now what I'm going to do is just to extract those trackers. So I guess I won't do all of them. I just want to show you the idea. Let's select all of them here. Okay, right click, and here it says create 14 nulls and camera. So let's do that. And now I'm going to have 40 nulls. And those are going to be what I'm going to use for the Spot Clone Tracker. So now I'm going to use Spot Clone Tracker back. And here we have the spot center. So I'm going to add an expression, very simple expression. So yes, this is the problem with After Effects. You cannot do anything without expression, almost. But very often those expressions are easy. So let's add Alt. And we have our expression. And I want to use the toComp expression. So this is not a video about expression, so I will be very fast. I'm going to take this. Let's select one of the null, 14 for example, and then I'm going to write toComp bracket and square bracket 0, 0, 0, and that's it. Okay, so this is my 14th, this one. Okay, now we can see that we have our Spot Clone Tracker right on spot. This is controlled by the 3D null. So let's reduce the size. Let's move the Spot Clone Tracker here. And now we can see that it works. So if I hide everything, it's perfect and it's automatic tracked. So you get the idea. Now, what I have to do is just to clone this thing. So let's do it a few times. EE to show the expression, and I just have to replace here the number. So you can obviously do that with some expression, but this is the extent of my talent. I'm not that good with expression. Actually, I tried to find it and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm just going to do it by hand because it's easy. So this is my number 13, number 12. So it's a bit boring, but it's far more faster than just track individually the 40 stuff. And with proper expression work, I mean, if you know your stuff, they can do it just with in a few seconds, because I would just have to clone, to duplicate, and so on. As you can see, as I'm doing that, all my spots are gone. Okay, so that will be enough, I think. You don't want me to copy that for all of them. Spot clone tracker, that will be, yeah, good enough. Okay.
Excellent opportunity to ask Red Giant to implement that as an automation, because it's a very simple concept, and only even if there's a script that creates these expressions will be much handier than copying and pasting. But nonetheless, I mean, it is no more than 5 minutes work, so I don't want to hear any complaints, right? Good.
Yes, you can just copy paste. Actually, I asked some of my friends who just say, yeah, it's easy, you just type this and that, and I tried that, I totally failed. So I just copy pasted. But yes, if you have just a little bit of expression talent, it's very easy to replace that. And as you can see, it works very well. So that would be one way to erase properly 3D trackers. I like it for that because this is not the usual way to use that tool, but it works pretty well. So yeah, that's it for spot clone tracker. So next, I will be showing Keylight tracker, but maybe we can let Dustin show a few stuff about 3D, so it's not only me who talks. And
I think
about Cinema 4D.
I think what would be cool before we switch to mine is maybe if you show the starting process and what the plan is, and then we can switch to my screen and talk about how I clean up the frame.
Yes. All right. Okay. Because yeah, there are a few things to say about Keylight tracker. All right. Let's do that. Let's go back to my composition, and I want to show you the other example. And I'm just going to show you the final result. So this is a composition, okay? I'm just going to hit play. So this is the same footage that I worked with 2 weeks ago in Cinema 4D. And I showed a little bit with Keylight tracker. So let's play it. And okay, nothing special, except that we just change the graffiti here. So this is the original composition. And that would be difficult to work with because, as you can see, we just changed the whole thing. And if you just want to use the healing brush and so on in Photoshop, it will be difficult. And here, with just a little bit of magic, we replace the whole stuff. And that's what Dustin will show us in a while. So first, let me show you how to use very quickly Keylight tracker. I'm going to load my footage, which is this one. If you want to do very basic stuff, it's super easy. So I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I think, yes, I have time. So Keylight tracker is another Redshift tool, which is super cool. It allows you to do some corner pin tracking, planar tracking. So you're going to replace a flat surface. And there is no 3D, so no camera, no depth, and so on, but it's very easy to use and extremely powerful. So for example, here I have a texture, which is here some paint. Okay, I'm going to reduce the size, and this is some, well, some art. I'm not sure of it, but something I found on the internet, on FreePic actually. And I want to put it right there. Okay, so to do that, it's super easy. I'm going to load Keylight tracker on it, and then I'm just going to specify which part of the image I want to track and where I want to put our graffiti. So I'm going to disable the eyeball here, so I won't see my stuff. Select Keylight tracker, and this is the surface I want to track. Okay, so let's increase the size of the whole thing. Perfect. And I wanted to put it right there on this figure. Actually, I feel bad to put it on the figure because it's pretty nice. Let's put it right there, for example. Because it's a nice flat wall, you can track almost anywhere you want. So you have those vanishing lines helping you to align stuff properly. Okay, I think that's good enough. And then you can directly track. So if I take here my tracking, I want to specify this video, and let's track. And you can see we have the tracking on this window. So it's pretty fast. I did it from the middle of the track. That's just my habit. I'm used to do it from the middle. It's I think it's better. Okay, so we are here, and I'm going to track backward. And we have those keyframes for the corner pin. And it's very fast, as you can see. Okay, and now I can just turn back on the layer, and you can see it just works. So now it's super easy to do a bit of work on it. I'm going to, well, we could just put it in product mode, and that's it. And it just works. It's very, very easy. And the track is perfect if you have a nice, easy shot. This is a nice and easy shot, but I could try, maybe I'll have the time to show you with a more difficult track. It works so easily. Okay, so that's the basic way to add something. But now, let's imagine you have a client who asks to erase this graffiti, add something. That could be more difficult because just adding a layer on it won't do. Okay, you really need to erase the stuff and to have it follow the track. Okay, there's two ways to do that.
One question, Lionel. This works with movies as well. The same way we see the still projected on the wall, this will work with a movie as well, won't it?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely.
So you can do animated graffiti.
Graffiti, absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent.
I want to keep it simple, but this being a layer could be anything you want. So it could be just drawn on, and so on.
Or a whole composition. It can be a whole composition.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Just one thing to know, if you want to have something coming out of the wall, well, that is more difficult because this is not planar. If you want to add depth, you can only a tiny bit of depth, but if you want to have a whole body, somebody coming out of the wall and then walking toward you, no, this is not the way to do it. You will need to do a proper 3D track. But if you want just to put stuff on the wall, animated or not, it works. Okay, so let's go to this one. And I'm going to show you two techniques, and then I will hand on to Dustin. Let's load again Keylight tracker. And the first one is easier because, well, once you understand how it works, it's very easy to use. I'm going to show a frame I want to work on. So maybe this one. I'm going to mark the frame using here this thing. And the idea is I want to render an image of this. Okay, so for the sake of consistency, I want to select the frame that I sent to Dustin. So where are okay, that was frame 218. I can see it here. 218. Yes. All right, so I'm going to mark the frame. Okay, and from then, I'm just going to render one image. So Control Alt S, it's just going to render this image. Let's call it test. And this time, I didn't make a mess with my file. It's neatly organized. Okay, so test, render. And now I'm going to open Photoshop, which is the best tool in the world if you just want to do some, well, correction on the picture, if you want to add stuff and so on. So yes, my Photoshop is in French also. So let's go to test. And we have this thing. So I'm going to do something very quickly. What could I do? Maybe, yeah, I'm going to erase here this signature because this is so easy. It's going to work. All right, and that's it. Maybe let's move it. Okay, and that's it. All right, so let's save. Now I'm going back in After Effects. I'm going to load my test image, which is in I said I did everything nicely, but oh my god. Each time, yeah, frame 2. Yeah, now I'm scared to because of last week. Sorry about that. So
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Feed me. Give me reasons. Give me reasons to tease you. Come on. Come on, Lionel.
Let's roll the dice, Lionel.
Yeah,
just
come on.
start clicking.
Try it. I'm here.
So,
I've got your back.
This is my test, my image, and I'm going to load it. Okay, so it's here, and as you can see, we don't have the signature anymore, and the Photoshop work is pretty good because it was easy. But of course, if I'm going to move, it's a still image. All right, so what's the point? So now what I'm going to do is introduce Keypin Tracker again. Okay, and yeah, this is very annoying. If I use my middle mouse tool instead of panning, it's going to move the whole layer. That shouldn't do that. Okay, so Keypin Tracker, I'm going to track the layer, which is still the same one. I'm going to disable the eyeball, and I'm going to track part of the image. Okay, I'm going to take a good portion. Well, let's take something because I'm only working on that part. Let's go there and take this one. All right, I'm just still checking the vanishing line alignment. Maybe let's zoom a little. Okay, that's better. All right, and I'm going to track that. Okay, so again, track forward. And then I will do the track backward. And this is fast, but still you have to wait a little bit. All right, so this is my track from one end to the other. Track backward. And I chose a short track. all of this could be very long in the end. Oh yeah, I made a mistake. I showed this part. I forgot about the car, so the track is going sideways. Well, that doesn't matter. I'm going to disable all this, and we're going to track another part.
You just made my day, Lionel, again. Thank you so much. You're such a good person. I'm going to hell. I'm going straight to hell. There's no intermediate.
Such a savage, there, Thanassis.
All right, so let's do it again. That's what I like about planar tracking. It's much more forgiving than 3D tracking. 3D tracking, if you make a mess, well, it's very long to do it again. Here, it just took me like 30 seconds to correct the mistake. All right, so we're back here. And now, if I click back on this, I'm going to have a very funny stuff which doesn't make sense. Okay, it's tracked properly, all right, but it doesn't make any sense. So that's because I didn't use here the from pin. So I suggest you to watch the very good video Stu Mashfitz has recorded some times ago already, where he explains precisely what's going on. Still, because we don't want to overrun too much, we will overrun, of course. I'm going to take a shortcut. Here, I want to show the from and to pin. So actually, the to pin is the yellow frame here, and the from pin is this one. Okay, and we don't want them to be like that. So what I'm going to do is here my two pins, which has been tracked. I want to scroll down the from pin, and I'm just going to copy from two pins. That's weird. Copy from two pins. Anyway, so I'm going to click on that, and we're back. And as you can see, we don't have our signature. Now it's going to get very weird if I just move. See? Very, very strange. I love it. But that's normal. Okay? It means I just stuck the whole thing on the image. But the perspective is not working, of course. I need to restrict the area. So what I'm going to do is to use my mask. And I'm going to this image, this mask. And I'm going to select that part. Now it's showing only there, and it's properly tracked. Meaning that if I go back there, I'm done. Let's play. So yes, of course, I will need to make a mask of the car. I won't do it, but that's pretty easy. You just do a mask here, and that will do. Actually, I could even show the. No. Okay, maybe if I have time later. But anyway, you can see. Let's cut it from there. And now, if I render the film, you can see it's perfect. It's seamless. It works. Okay, so this technique is very useful to just remove stuff like that instead of adding something.
Yeah, amazing stuff, and so easy to do. Yeah.
Yes, that's very common. I mean, people have been doing that for decades. Actually, usually you would do it with Mocha, which is a very, very good software specialized into that. But you can see Kinpin Tracker is more than capable to do it. But still, so maybe there are questions because I'm babbling on, but I don't know if there are questions.
No, there are no questions. I think I'm on top of it, mostly making sly comments about you and about Google Translate. But other than that, everything seems to be in order. But that's the thing. It's simple. And let's tell people our secret, Lionel. The mistakes that Lionel does, he's falling on his own sword. They're not real mistakes. He does it on purpose to show you how things can go. Don't laugh, you're spoiling it. Let me be serious about this. He's doing it on purpose. Right, wait, 1 minute. He's doing it on purpose to show you the reality that you may do mistakes. We're all human. Lionel doesn't do mistakes. He is not human, talking about AI. But nonetheless, he's just demonstrating how sometimes things can go wrong. So if any of us does a mistake, it's on purpose. And what group, what band sang "Everything I Do It for You"? That's what we do. We do things for you because you deserve it, right? I put in songs. No, you're worth it. That was the slogan, yeah, because you're worth it. Okay, are you done, Lionel?
Well, I have now, yes, the trick to do much further than that, because you see the problem here. If I want to go back here and work on this, Dustin can confirm that's, yes, you can do it, of course. Even me, I think I could do it, but it will be more work because you have a perspective here. You have the pattern of the brick. So to do some clone stamp is going to require work because if you take the stamp from there, because it's skewed, it has a perspective. It's of course it's feasible, of course, but it's going to be a lot of work. So there is a way to avoid that. Let's see. I'm going to make another comp again, and let's change the name to, because they're all the same name, and stretch test. And this is a feature we could ask the Giant team because I'm going to use another plugin. All right, so here I'm going back to still the frame 218 because this is the plate that Dustin has worked on. So I'm going to put my marker here. And I'm going to use Kinping Tracker. Let's use it. Oh, yes, I forgot a step. I want to put it on a solid layer. And this solid layer, it's very important, is going to be the side of the comp. Otherwise, it won't work. Be careful with that. Okay, so let's do it like that. The color and the name, we just don't care. It's a placeholder. Okay, I'm going to disable the visibility. Let's use Kinping Tracker, and I'm going to draw a whole section of the image. So let me see in my chat what reference exactly I showed because I need to do the same thing. Okay, so I'm seeing on my other screen. Here I'm going to take my tracker, my pin here for the whole wall. So yeah, that could have been interesting to take the piercing and change it also, but I didn't do that. So, and now let's move and change to here. All right. And I think I was a little bit like that. So see, that's very interesting. You can, if you have the good perspective enough, you can just slide like this. Okay, I'm making sure that I have the right perspective everywhere. And that's it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is a bit weird, but you will see. I'm going now to take a copy, to make a copy of this one. So let's call this one. I'm going to make a copy on top. Let's call it Powre Pin. And on this one, I'm going to use the CC Powre Pin. So it's a free plugin, which is included with After Effects. You have, you obviously have Powre Pin. It's been there for forever. So I'm going to put it there. And I'm going now to use the same value here as Kingpin. So take a look here. It's just a corner pin, very simple corner pin. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to scroll down. And here on my layer, I want to see my track, my pin. So I need to open, and it's the 2 pins I want to use. Okay, so we have those. And I'm just going to do that. So linking the property, okay? And now let's go back here. We have this. Let's make it solo. And Powre Pin has a very powerful option, which is unstretch. And bam, you can see the idea. With this, I'm going to extract a flat texture from the whole thing. Okay, now I'm going to take a snapshot of this, Control-Alt-S, send it to Photoshop, and call it test and stretch. And stretch, yes.
This is so cool. And you know, the undistortion thing, you can take this then and use it as a texture in Cinema 4D. You can go and paint over it. Well, that's that is pretty cool.
Exactly. Well, you know, at first I was a video guy. I mean, I worked on exclusively on video for more than 10 years, and then I switched to 3D. So I love to work on 3D, but sometimes I go back to video. And from this, I can hand on to Dustin, because we're going to load this image and we're going to work on it because it's flat now. It's much easier to work on. So it's up to you, Dustin.
Yeah, let's do it. Can we switch the monitor? Ah, there we go. Okay, Thanassis is learning how to use technology. I like it.
It wasn't me.
Is that Kyle in the background?
I've been doing some switching, and Kyle, you know, maybe his hands got a bit numb because I was clicking on the buttons. So yeah, it was my fault. It's always my fault. You can default to that. If anything happens, I take responsibility for it. So go ahead, hit it.
All right, so we're in Photoshop. We have the frame from Lionel, and what I've done is already created just a base clean of this image. So this was actually kind of a challenge right before the stream. We were talking about what his process would be, and then I thought, hey, maybe as a Photoshop guy, I might be able to clean that a little bit differently, and then realized that it wasn't quite as easy as I thought it would be. So we'll talk about it. There's a few different ways that we can go about cleaning something like this. This was my method. You can see a bunch of my dirty layers here. I started off with a base healing layer that is just getting rid of, you know, some of the details. So the reason why I like using the heal versus the clone stamp is that in Photoshop, if I create a new layer here, and we can turn off the clean version. If I use a clone stamp, this is going to bring the texture and the color details over, which isn't too bad, but you'll see as we start to get over various parts of this, we're copying some of these textures like the lines, and then the values and things like that are also going to change as we start to mix in. So because this brick wall has both a lot of color information and a lot of detail information, I decided to start with the healing brush. And so with the healing brush, what this allows me to do is sample textures, but you are going to get some weird artifacts, especially in more of the contrasting areas. So if I select one here, we'll try to zoom in a little bit. With my heal brush, I do have my sampling method set to current and below. So that's going to take everything in the layers below it and clone on top of that. Now, if I select in this area here, holding down the Alt key, which is going to allow me to pick a sampled area, you'll see that I can paint over this and start to get rid of this figure that's right in the middle. And it's retaining the texture, but cleaning everything up that's underneath it. And if I do the same from this side, we can pull that right over. And this gives us a bit more of a clean result than working directly with the clone stamp. So what I did in my initial version of this is I sampled up from the top. And so I'm finding areas here that have some really nice kind of open texture in the bricks. There's another area here off to the left. And so I'm sampling that and just working my way in between. Now, because this image is fairly compressed anyways, I'm not so worried about all of the lines that we're getting with all of the bricks here. Some of it will carry over, other areas maybe not so much. And so what I did is I just started selecting areas in healing right on top. So we'll talk about the contrasting areas because this is a process that can take probably about 20 minutes to go through and explain. So I'm going to explain more some of the problems that I had with this and kind of how I fix some of those rather than just going into doing the entire thing live. So once we get into contrasting areas, and this is primarily right around the magenta swirl and in the triangle area. Oh, there we go. Inside of the triangle area, we're going to start getting this really weird artifacting where it's going to be splitting, and we can kind of see this here, where we're going to be getting this split and mix of the colors. It's almost as if we were using a mixer brush on it. And so what I'm doing is making sure that I'm getting very close, you know, in the texture and, you know, detail area, but I'm not always going all the way up to this magenta line. I'm just kind of staying right underneath it, getting some of that detail cleaned up and doing my best to match. So we can see here, and I'll go across the bottom a little bit. We can see how this is starting to break that texture for the line there. And so I would use a mix between the heel and then maybe a clone stamp to kind of follow up and just get some nicer edges on that. You can also paint on this quite easily. And so I did very similar with the triangle here. So if we're looking at the cleaned up version, turn all of my layers back on here. If we look at the cleaned up version, it's not perfect, but it's definitely passable. And so this is one of the biggest things that we've kind of talked about this entire month is being able to consciously fudge things to make them work and saving yourself a lot of time. It's kind of that finish versus perfect. You know, when I used to work on video, I don't really much anymore, but we had a lot of dirty tricks that we used to just kind of make things happen and, you know, kind of calculated decision making. So with these pieces here in the triangle, this was a little bit different. So I would select an area off on the right or the left side because they're both very similar. And then I would start to paint in a linear fashion and just clean out the lines. And so on these sides, I'll maybe pull in here towards the center. And then this one on the bottom is quite a bit different. So I would need to clean some of this in the middle first. And so we can do that by sampling from underneath. And we'll just get rid of those harsher blue lines. A lot of this is actually very similar to how you might maybe do a cover-up tattoo, where you're taking some of the detail that's there and you're just hiding it in the mix of the rest of the piece that you're fixing. Instead of trying to just remove the entire tattoo, you're just being smart about how you're adding those details. And so I'm just going to select from the left side. We'll paint in a little bit. Then I can do the same for the right side, paint this in. And now obviously we have a bit more of a cyan and then this blue kind of weird magenta mix. And so this is all stuff that I would just fix post this process. And then we're just going to continue cleaning. Go ahead.
Yeah, typically, Dustin, this part would be very difficult if we still had the perspective. It's
Right.
much easier because it's just flat. This is the whole purpose, the whole point.
For sure. And so with this area in the middle, I'm not actually going to worry so much about cleaning those lines specifically, because I think in the original that I did, yeah, we just kind of kicked out that inner triangle that was there. Could always add it. It's a bit easier um, to add a triangle than it is to go and mask this and try to use that for the entire thing. So what it looked like was me using this same healing process to go over the entire image. Um, let's see, what is Hamid saying? In Photoshop beta version, you can use the new healing and you can erase everything in 1 second from an image. Yes, I usually don't. I usually don't like to show off the beta side until that comes out. I haven't actually used that feature yet, but for stability purposes, I usually like to stay away from showing some of the new stuff on streams.
Are you allowed to talk about beta? I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I mean it's their public it's their public beta. We can.
Okay. I thought I had a story there. No, okay, forget it.
No story. All right, so from this point now, we've eradicated most of the detail that was coming from the figure on the bottom side, and we can still see that we have some cyan in that blue kind of magenta mix underneath, where most of that should just be towards the greenish side. But from here, what I'm going to do is create a stamp visible layer. And now with this layer, I am going to use the polygonal lasso, and I am just going to select the bottom side here, maybe not even so far up. We'll select the bottom side of the triangle. We can duplicate that from the stamp visible. And what this allowed me to do was quite quickly create the rest of this triangle. So I can place the one side here down in the corner. I can use the Alt or Option key to kind of replace our transform anchor. And then I can rotate this into place. Pressing Control, I can grab one of our handles here and just start to work this to where it fits. Again, this doesn't have to be completely perfect. I had quite a bit of back and forth when I was doing this the first time. And so you finagle your way into it and it gets here. Let's see if we can skew it down just a little bit. There we go. And so for this one, what I'm doing is applying that transform, and then I can create a new layer mask. And with a black brush, I can just paint out some of the details on the one side. And so this is going to be just a little bit of finessing back and forth. There we go. And now the easiest method for flipping this would just be to duplicate it and then transform and flip horizontal. And then I can move this to the other side. And so what I did is I painted all of these, kind of in together and removed with this layer mask quite a bit of the details here and got it to a point where they lined up quite nicely. And then I ended up, if I head back to the original, I ended up just removing the extra lines that would be down in the middle. And so that was a very, fairly quick way to do it. I used the same healing process to get rid of the wings. And then on top of that, I did a very quick job, but you can very easily add a hue saturation adjustment layer and then use our little sampler here. And we can click on that and then sample directly from, the color, that magenta blue color, and start to adjust that hue. So we can see how that looks here. Let's see. So would it have been easier if you brought a new wall texture in similar to the video and masked it out? Not the other way around. It really just depends, honestly, on the amount of detail that you want to retain from the original image. Like in compositing, like we do like dirty tricks like that all the time. You just slap a new wall texture in, cover it up, color match it, and boom, it's done. A few layer masks, maybe feathered. Things are quite easy if you wanted to completely just replace the texture.
This
You know,
this word is
yeah,
very specific. It's a very specific texture.
right.
So I think it would be more work in the end to just replace a patch. If you wanted to replace everything, well, it's a different image. Let's say the idea here was just to alter the graffiti. So that's what Dustin just
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, there are definitely ways that you could fudge this. Maybe we can talk about that in another series. You know, about how like we actually get into the nitty gritty side of, you know, some of those. So this is definitely like Thanassis said. This is like, you know, a client saying, "Hey, I want this wall, but without that figure in the middle, and I want to retain everything there." Perfect world, we just swap out the wall texture and call it a day. So
What I find very interesting with this combination, including Lionel's undistortion and all that, is that you can use this undistorted image to remodel the windows, for example. Instead of those two windows, maybe you want to add something else, and you can use this reference to model it and then render that as an animation, then redistort it and place it on your. So this is just scratching the surface of what can be done with this combination of techniques.
Absolutely, we could close the window.
True.
All right, so maybe I'm going to show the final stage, which is, I mean, it's 10 seconds, well, maybe 1 minute.
sure, let's do it.
I can show my screen again. So yeah, this is typical also. You just ask another guy who's better than you on Photoshop on another tool. Teamwork. I mean, I could have done that, but not as fast, I think. Okay, so here I just took the frame from Dustin. So this is it, the final frame. And here we have our solid layer with our kingpin tracker, and we don't need the Powre Pin anymore. I mean, we just don't care. I could delete it. I'm going to take this one, and this is very easy. Just going to take your image you have painted on and replace it, and that's it. You're done. So I did the track while Dustin was talking, and that's it. But please notice something interesting. There's something wrong. Can you spot it? I can see only that.
Window, no parallax.
Yes. The window lost its parallax and lost also its reflection. Okay. So we only need this part. So I'm just going to go back on my layer here. Let's disable kingpin tracker so I can see what's going on. And I'm just going to take that part of the image that Dustin corrected. Okay, now let's put kingpin tracker on, and that's it. Now we have our window which are working because those are the original window.
That was too easy. Is there a way to do it a bit harder?
And that's it. So it's a very, very powerful technique that you can use for a lot of stuff. And yes, I would definitely ask, actually, I already did, but I will do it again. So that the Powre Pin unstretch feature would be integrated inside Kingpin Tracker. Well, anyway, you have this plugin, so it's pretty easy to use, but it's just a thought.
Yeah, this
This
is ideal. These techniques are ideal. You go out with your smartphone, you shoot some footage. The quality of today's phones, I mean, even a phone 5 years ago will shoot decent HD video. And you can add any motion graphic piece on a wall, because when you have flat surfaces, even in the situation where we have those windows, which is, just an exception, you can do really, really interesting stuff with very simple and quick techniques.
Well, in that example, as you said, we could just have replaced the window, and then we would have added some other video, I would think, to do the reflection on the window. It's possible. I mean, nobody will really care that the reflection is not quite what it should be.
Let me say something here, all right? Let me say something. If everyone can focus on the top left window and you can see that it's reflecting the either side of the street. If you were to shoot this, you went out on the street and you saw this interesting wall, wanted to add some digital graffiti on it. What you could do is after you shoot your video, let's say this video, then turn around, take a photo of the opposing wall, and just a single snapshot at the highest resolution possible. And then in Cinema 4D, you can just put a plane, an estimate, where that wall will be across the street, and put that image on that and create a glass pane that only shows the reflection. You make a mirror and then you composite it. So you could get an extremely believable, pretty much, without having any visible error, just by tracking this scene and rendering just the reflection. So everything we've been showing since the first Demystifying post-production we did a few weeks ago, you can use these techniques together or separately, and then instead of tracking the whole scene here, you just get the camera track and you just generate a reflection for a window. You can put a shop in that wall. You can model some things inside the shop, and just to make the reflection believable, you do that technique where you just project an image. But always remember, if you are going to integrate video with CG, make sure you record parts of the scene that are not directly visible. So if you do go out, take this video, shoot this video, and then take some photos with your camera, maybe from the sky, maybe the top of the building, if you want to do a set extension, a bit more of the road. Spend another 5 minutes maximum taking as much information, visual information, which you may or may not use about that, but in your project. But always make sure you have as much information as possible. Yeah, that's all I have to say for now.
Well, that's it for me. I could show the phone, but that would take too long, I guess. Dustin, do you want to show what you did with Cinema 4D, so we can show a little bit of 3D? But if you have time, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, if you want to show your other part, I can show this side of it next week. If you want to get that bit of showcase in, because I think that would be super beneficial as well, and it would all tie into what we've seen this week. It's really really up to you and how far we want to go over today.
Well, next week we have compositing, so it will be a great opportunity to show people how we integrate the stuff we've made so that the result is believable. So I have a few things I'm going to show, and this could be a big part of that. And of course, if you're interested in more things in the subject, just send an email to askthetrainer@maxon.net, and we can plan some more sessions. We do want to, I mean, this is the scene that we're seeing now would be ideal for how to composite something, maybe a future user interface or something like that on a standard phone and whatnot.
Yeah, so let's do your side of this here very quickly, Lionel, and then what we'll do is I'll cover the 3D side of mine, and then we can wrap the rest of that project up next week. So
it makes more sense. So yeah, this will be quicker. This is just to show you the final result. So I do apologize for the very old iPhone. This is the only video I had. So it doesn't work, obviously, when she's or he's moving the stuff, because there is no screen. This has been added. And as you can see, it's pretty good. It doesn't skip or slide or whatever. And this is very easy to do again. And this is, I mean, so common to have still that kind of work to do. I have done that like 20 times, I don't know. All right, so let's see. I just want to show you the mistake not to do, not to make. This is the original video. Okay, and we take a look here. What we can see is that the people is moving. It's not stationary. Well, it's stationary, but the hand is not stationary. We don't have any tracking marker. This is good. Really, most of the time, you don't need tracking marker. In the room I showed, it was a very good idea to have tracking marker because it was a 3D marker, 3D track. But here for planar tracking, the side of the phone is good enough, and this will be beneficial for us afterwards to composite the screen we want to composite. Okay, and the mistake here, the problem is the hand going in front of the video. Okay, this is going to throw off most of the tracker. But keeping is pretty darn good. I was surprised that I could do that. I thought it was only possible with Mocha, but I could do it with Kimping Tracker. Let me show you first the mistake you don't want to do. So I'm going to bring my texture, which is a very old iOS interface. Brings back memories. Okay, and I'm going to put Kimping Tracker. Okay, and the mistake here, I'm going to hide the layer. The mistake would be to do that. If I just put my track like this, it's not going to work, and you can guess why. Because it's just blue stuff. There's nothing on it. So if we had tracking marker, that could work, but the tracking marker, you have to remove them. Okay, so I don't say don't ever put tracking marker. I just say sometimes you can get rid of it. So here, if I'm not going to do it because it's already late, but if I'm going to make a planar tracking of that, it's going to fail when the hand is going in front. Okay, and for this kind of track, it must be perfect. You don't have any choice. So what you want to do instead is track the whole thing, even go outside of the phone. So you have to be careful. Here it's going to work because it's a blurry background. And it's also going to work because the hand is not moving. Here the fingers are not really moving, and this one is not moving either. If you have someone flipping his phone or moving his finger here, it could fail. So it's just something you have to know, as usual, when you're going to shot this. Just tell the guy not to play with his finger. I mean, it's pretty easy, but yes, be careful with that. So I'm going to take the edge. Oh, yes, here. That's better. So I'm just making sure that it makes sense. I'm going to take as much information as I can. So the placement of those pins are very important because everything is going to rely on that. Okay, and now I can do the tracking. So let's load our phone, and now it should work. So let's track backward, and we can see here the result. So of course it's perfect, and now, yes, no, it doesn't. As usual, when I do it live, it fails. So I can stop because we have this problem. Kimping Tracker cannot really change that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do, and if I fail, I'll just load the final project. I'm just going to change slightly the tracking. I guess I'm going to, in the end, take this part too, to have more room for the tracker to work. I don't want to extend too much though. Okay, something like that. Let's see if it holds. We will see very quickly when the hand goes in front. And yes, it works, as you can see. So let's stop. And you can see it stay put. Let's do it a little bit on the other way. I won't do everything, of course. But you can see just a tiny adjustment is often enough for everything to work. And I think that's it. We have another hand going in front, and it holds. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. That will be the same for the whole footage. So I'm going to restrict the era and so on. So now if I just go back on my iPhone, we have this. Okay, and then you're going to tell me, okay, but the screen is not much too big. So first, I'm going to put this in front. And the good idea to have just a blue screen or green screen is I can use our Keylight. I'm going to put Keylight on it, and I'm going just to do that. And that's it. That's why I didn't want marker, okay? It just works. So still we have the problem that it's oversized. So we have a very neat feature inside Camping Tracker there. If you go to show the transform pins, you can change the scale. So I'm going to do that and reduce the size. I'm going to force final quality, and let's see, somewhere here. And you're just going to adjust like this, and you can see it's so easy. Let's move it on the y-axis. And let's reduce a bit the width. And let's move it a bit like that. All right, and that's it. Now if I just render this, it just stay put. Even though we have hands on front of it, even though we don't have 3D tracker. And actually, because we don't have 3D tracker, I could do it in 10 minutes. So that's it. I can show the final clip. You can see it holds for the whole thing. Let's just change. How do I put that in? Oh, VLC is not very easy to. I want to do it in. Oh, whatever. So that's it.
That's it.
Sweet.
Yes.
Sweet.
That was too
Wow.
long. Was it?
Very interesting stuff, Lionel. So there are no questions, and any questions that were there. Generally, if you go to Maxon's YouTube channels, Maxon Training Team, Maxon, or Red Giant, you can go to the live tab where it says live, and you can watch all the reruns from all the videos. So they're in the live category, not the videos category. And please don't forget to send your questions and proposals for future shows. So let me do the cleanup housekeeping before we leave. And let me put everything down. Let's make us quite small. There you go, so you can keep seeing us. So first of all, you can go to the Maxon main page and check out the May sale from the 23rd to the 25th, and watch a great video by Seth and get all the information you require. Go to the Maxon events page to find out various events, where they're happening, when they're happening, and how you can participate either in person or virtually, or watch them, the reruns. Go to the Maxon Training Team, the Maxon and the Red Giant YouTube channels, and check out all the videos. For example, if you go to live here, you will see that we have the new ones that are upcoming. Notify me, so you get a notification, and everything else that we did. Oh, look at these 3 good-looking people. There you go, over here. And here are all the reruns with timestamps and all that, provided very generously by our resident genius, Dr. Thanassis. Go to Maxon certification if you want to become a certified pro user or a Maxon certified Trainer and get all the information you would like. The design animation tour is going on, and the next one is in Nashville on June the 11th with a host of superstars from the cinema 4D and motion graphics and VFX field. And of course, do not forget to go and put the code, boom, Compositing 3D, right in this page here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to the comments and paste it. Although it has been pasted previously, I will paste it again. Go put the code Compositing 3D, all caps, no gaps. See, I make rhymes. It's a little poem I wrote. All caps, no gaps. Good. And yeah, go get your free swag. Just pay for shipping and handling. We do handle everything with care. No t-shirt was harmed during the handling. Okay, let's show our beautiful faces. There we go. Would you like this one or this one? This one. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with us for the past hour and 22 minutes, going 23. And we have Ask the Trainer on Thursday. We have VFX and Chill on Friday. We have the next Demystifying post-production, the last one of this particular series, for this particular package, let's say, of series, because we are going to do more if there's interest, if you have any questions. You can find me on Twitter at NosemanGR, because I'm Noseman and I'm Greek. And you can ask questions. If you want to send scenes for evaluation or questions and all that, don't forget to simplify your scenes. Be very specific of what you're requesting. And yeah, I think with that little thing, we are done. Anything else you would like to add, Lionel and Dustin?
No. Yeah, see you next week. We'll cover the fun side of what we didn't quite get to today regarding the kind of swapping out some cans for stun grenades and stuff like that. We'll have some of that fun next week during the compositing stage and kind of wrapping everything together. So we'll talk about that next week. Until then, yeah, create.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.
What's so special? It's a 40/30 special. What's a 40/30 special? It's 40% off Maxon 1 or 30% off any annual subscription. What can you do with Maxon 1? Great question. All this stuff. What? 40% off Maxon 1 is a ridiculously low price for all the tools you get. Yeah, 30% off any annual subscription is pretty darn good too. So like, why is this special so special? Well, because it's the 2-year anniversary of the last time we had a May special. What? Remember when we regularly held a sales special in May, like every year? We didn't have a special last year. That's why we're especially excited to announce a very special to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of our May specials. I'm tired. How long is the special? 3 days. Great. And why are there 2 of me? I don't know.